The Oppo Find X, a device that is clean in design, no unibrow, and has super thin bezels. It has probably one of the highest screen to body ratios you'll find in any smartphone currently right now. And this thing is a beauty. Yes, it is. Looking at this device from all angles, you can see the display takes the main, of course, center for what you're looking at. So what we have here is the Find X. I got it in, and welcome to our full walkthrough video, guys. This device is pretty cool because, first of all, you see no unibrow. You also do not see a front-facing camera, and the rear-facing camera is also hidden as well. But before we get to all that, let's talk about what we have with this device. Display is about 6.4 inches, again, mostly just screen. Bezel on the bottom is really thin, as well as on the top. Now, you're wondering where, of course, is that camera housed, front and rear? Well, let's swipe up here, and you can see the camera is actually housed in this slide-up tray, if you will, that showcases the camera quite well. So what you have here is that the camera slides in between both the rear glass back and the front screen. It's really nice, pretty cool. Let's close that up again. That mechanism works every single time you actually fire it up, so that's something to take note. Now, this is powered by the Snapdragon 845 processor, 8 gigs of RAM on here, and it has either 128 or 256 gigabytes of internal storage. There is no micro SD card storage. You do have your SIM card tray at the bottom here, and your USB Type-C port, as well as also speakers. The SIM tray at the bottom is because, of course, of that new mechanism on the top for the slide-out camera. Now, this device has, of course, a volume rocker on the left-hand side and a power button on the right. Now, if you're noticing this video, lots of fingerprints, it is all glass all the way, so it's a fingerprint magnet. Now, the one thing to mention is it doesn't have NFC as well, so if you're thinking about this device, just so you know, that isn't built in, and there is no headphone jack, but I can forgive them because of the mechanism they have up at the top, so that takes away a lot of space on the bottom. So let's go ahead and fire this up. Now, in terms of security features, you either have facial recognition or, of course, a PIN code. So if I actually swipe, I'm not gonna look, you can see there, record face or PIN. That's pretty much it. There is no under the display fingerprint scanner, so that is out of the question. So what you wanna do is swipe, and boom, it opens up. Really quick, really fast. Now, this is what the display looks like, especially when you throw your wallpaper on there. This thing is butter. Really nice. It's running, in terms of speed, the OS runs well, but as you can see, it's got a very interesting layout. This is running, I believe, the Color OS. A couple of things I cannot long press on the home screen. I've tried to do certain things, it just doesn't actually function or work. You do not have an app tray, so there is no swiping up from app tray. There's none of those functionalities there. There's a search, you can swipe up for search, but there is no app tray, so that's the only other thing I can mention. Now, you've got your multitask here, which has a card-like layout, and of course you can swipe to close applications. You can also, of course, hit the back button and the home button. This will work on T-Mobile and AT&T networks here in the US. So what do we have on this device? Let's take a look at some of the software features to go through. Of course, this complete walkthrough, and then we'll go to the camera. So swiping down, you've got your notification center here. I'm just gonna bring that brightness down a little bit for you guys so you can clearly see. And of course, you can expand that, and it has things like a calculator, the Oppo Share, which is kind of like, which is Wi-Fi Direct, which is nice. Location services, you can record your screen. Then you can also add a few more items in here, like switching keyboards, smart driving, one-handed controls, and kid space. So you've got all that built in. Now, going directly into the settings, this is what we have in our settings here. So looking at our settings clearly, we've got airplane mode. This is all the connectivity area. And you can see other wireless connections. As I mentioned, there is a Wi-Fi Direct, which is the Oppo Share. There is no NFC in this device, so you don't have that option built in. Moving on here, we've got a notification status bar where we can add things like battery percentage, turn that on and off, shows up in there, and then you can also do real-time network speeds on the top left-hand corner. This again is just a toggle feature, and you can manage your notifications directly from here. And we go down to display and brightness, a couple of things within this here. So you can make the display cooler, You can make it warmer, so I can make it cooler here, and that actually looks better on screen. You can do a portrait orientation lock. You've got curved screen light. So this display is actually a curved screen, and I'll show you that in a second. So you've got apparent lighting colors, and you guys will see the animation. You won't actually see it, but you've got 3 colors to choose from. This is for calls. You can set it for calls, contacts, or none of the above. And then you've got for the lock screen itself. And again, you've got those 3 colors you can actually pick from. So it's a nice little feature to use that curved display. Very similar to what you have on the Note 9 in terms of just the display itself. I wouldn't be surprised. This is an AMOLED display, by the way. It's a 2036. I could be wrong the exact number, by 1080 in terms of what the display is. Then you've also got font size, night shield, video enhancements as well. Now, going out of that, we've got a home screen and lock management. So the layout. What we can do with our home screen layout is basically change the size cancel. We can either go by 4:6 or 5:6 in terms of the app layout. There is no app tray to select from. We can turn on a magazine lock for the lock screen, set a theme or wallpaper, but that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else you can actually do there. We've got sound of vibration, going through ringtones, ringtone messages, system feedback, real-time sound, and headphone monitors with, of course, USB Type-C headphones for you. Now, we've got your face passcode, which you can actually set, and that's pretty much it for security and a PIN. And you've got smart convenience, so some gesture controls here. So you've got controls for things like navigation keys, you can change the layout, virtual keys, you can do swipe up gestures for navigation, which is not bad, but it's not my cup of tea. So it's one of those things that, you know, you can see how it actually works. So if I went in here, I can swipe up to go, and then I can also swipe left or right to go next. Again, not my cup of tea, not something I like to use, but again, it's something you can actually use. So if you go into smart convenience, we can go back and change it to key layout. So you have that there if you want to. And virtual keys can be hidden, you can hide that. And you've got smart driving, gesture motions, basically typical gestures you find on your device. You've got some curved screen gestures, so you can actually set gestures for going back and forth using the curved screen to swipe, to activate split screen. See if we can do this, yep. And then the reverse motion should take us away. There we go. But again, it's nice that they threw some of these gestures in there. Then we move down to security. Battery tells us, of course, battery power saver. We have smart battery power saver that works with you to optimize your battery, and also basically will turn on power saver mode so you don't need to do that yourself. And then as we move down, we've also got additional settings where you can check out things like your storage. We have the 256 gigabyte version here. We've got 8 gigs of RAM. It says, okay, 6 gigabytes to use there, including our storage. And then we've got SIM toolkits. You can turn on USB OTG, which is great. Keyboard implementer, and of course, backup and restore. Now there's Oppo Cloud for cloud storage. You've got clone apps, which you can clone apps, so you can run 2 accounts on one type of application like Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, and so on and so forth. Game Space, which is basically a game center. So you can actually optimize your gaming, the software itself to run smoother, maximize hardware for your gaming experience, and also eases with answering phone calls. And then you've got app split screen. Again, you can use gesture for that. And then you just looking at the About phone, Find X is the name, Android 8.1, octa-core processor is the Snapdragon 845, 8 gigs of RAM. Let's look at the version we are running here. It's running the ColorOS version 5.1. I'm not a big fan of the ColorOS, but that's what you have. You can throw it in your own skin if you want to. Now, as we go in here, go into the camera, which slides up, it's pretty fast actually. Now, closing down is a little slower, but when you open it up, it's almost as fast as the app opening up. At least that's the impression they give you. And now what you look at here is a very simple menu, similar to what you find on the iPhone, basically a sliding menu. You've got portrait here, which Basically, you've got different portrait modes you can go through. There's a monotone, film lights, monotone lights, bicolor, so on and so forth. And you can switch to the front-facing camera, and then you can switch back, and you have all those options there. There are no proper camera settings. So if you want to change something like 4K video here, you have to just tap on the icon and switch to 4K. So those are within the camera. There's no in-depth camera settings. I couldn't find any, and I couldn't find any in the settings menu whatsoever. Slow motion, time lapse, you've got it right there, and you can actually do all that directly from the device. I think overall though, this is a really good looking smartphone. In terms of what they've done here with this, you've got something that's got really thin bezels. They figured out a way to actually incorporate the cameras without destroying the aesthetic that they were trying to go for here, which is of course having the mechanism that raises your camera up, you know, that way, which is nice. So I like that about it. I wish the OS was a little bit much more fluid and more flexible like what other Android OSs are. But I think overall, this is a really good looking device. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this walkthrough. And I do like the color switch tone on the back here, really nice. Although it's a fingerprint magnet, as you guys can clearly see. So if you have any questions or any comments about the Oppo Find X, and what do you think about devices having a display like this? Let us know, and we'll try to answer these questions for you. We'll do some more comparisons, but don't forget to like and share this video, favorite this video, subscribe to the channel, and always enjoy your entertainment.